Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. We are joined by 10th Man. Who else we got? Father of a Stolen Child, Neil, Brian's Logic, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Never has been. Just been calculated.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Don't know. Well,
There's no evidence of that either. Doesn't Kiwi at present have a drone that he's a drone video that he had someone make for him that completely disproves their claim?
Indeed. So the claim is that we have 15 degrees an hour deviation of anything that's not attached to the spinning Earth turning beneath it. That would be a Coriolis deviation, akin to their claim Earth turns beneath the stars. So they're not actually moving, it's us moving, it's a not actual deviation, it's not the stars moving, it's the effect of us moving beneath it. Coriolis effect. We're all reasonably familiar with it. Well, that effect would mean that if you were to take off from Earth's surface and film the stars, your drone would track with the stars as Earth turned beneath both the stars and the drone. And his footage shows quite the contrary. The stars still move even if the drone's hovering.
But the gas moves in lockstep with the Earth.
Then it's not drift. Then that's not Coriolis deviation at 15 degrees an hour if it's moving in lockstep in violation of several natural laws. So no, Arwin.
But the stars are still there, and the Earth with the gas is turning underneath that. It's all relative.
Baldwin, the claim is the Earth is turning, correct?
Yes.
And how would you prove that?
By looking up and then seeing how we're turning underneath the stars.
Great. So if you go up in the drone and take video footage and you're no longer on the Earth, what should happen?
Then it should be rotating with the air, with the Earth, and showing how it's all rotating underneath the stars.
No, that's completely the contradictory point that you've just made in terms of how you prove that we're spinning. So it's claimed we're turning beneath the stars. So we're turning beneath stuff. Okay, so we've got a non-inertial and inertial reference frame. Well, if we've got a non-inertial and inertial reference frame, we will observe Coriolis effect. We don't. End of argument.
But we're still turning underneath the stars.
Right. So how are you going to prove that if you can't prove it?
It's just saying the same thing 3 times.
Can
It's
you
getting
make
tedious.
it stop turning underneath the stars?
Arwin. As much as we like Baldwin, right, doing the whole fundy circle jerk, that definitely isn't conducive to a good show. That's a fundy tactic once you've lost, but you don't need to employ that. You're playing devil's advocate.
Well, something's moving. Something's moving. Something's moving, Baldwin. It's not the Earth.
Hold on. I'm saying that once you've gone through the process of explaining that the claim is Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour, Coriolis deflection, and you say Earth and atmosphere turn together, therefore no drift, and that's been pointed out, yeah, maybe repeat it once, but by the 3rd time, that's actually fundy behaviour because you're fighting cognitive dissonance, which you don't have in this instance. You're not a glober.
But you haven't actually refuted it.
No, because you did.
Yeah, we did. The demonstration is with the drone. That's how this came up in the first instance. So the drone, if it leaves Earth's surface and we have drift, then Earth will turn beneath it. Non-inertial and inertial reference frame. So by example, just to expand on this, if you're on a roundabout, right, and your drone is parked on top of the spinning roundabout, so attached to it, and you start filming the trees, right, from the roundabout, that's spinning, the camera on the drone, while it's attached to the roundabout, not flying, will see the trees seem to come towards the field of view, and then disappear, and then seem to come towards the field of view and disappear. Now, the trees aren't actually moving. It's the roundabout that's moving. It's you turning beneath the trees that makes them appear to move. Now, if you launch the drone above the roundabout that's turning, then the trees don't move anymore. The roundabout turns beneath the drone. Now, you can't simultaneously turn with the roundabout to see drift and not turn with the roundabout to not see drift simultaneously. The two are mutually exclusive. You either see drift or you don't.
Right. Well, you'd have to go up beyond the atmosphere that moves in lockstep with the rotating Earth in order to see the star standing still and the Earth turning underneath.
Incorrect. That's not a globe claim. So now you're just being devious as opposed to actually sitting lockstep with the ball rhetoric. So no, they claim that footballs, when thrown from or kicked from a football field, will deviate from your vantage point on the stands, i.e. look like it's drifting through the goal. Actually, it's Earth turning beneath the ball. It's not really drifting or curving through the goalposts. It's merely Earth claimed to be turning beneath the ball. Or snipers' bullets. They claim you've got to track the target and concern yourself with the Earth turning beneath the bullet when it leaves the gun, because it's not attached anymore. So no, Arwin, you're moving away from the actual globe Earth rhetoric, which would be to suggest we have Coriolis effect as Earth turns beneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour. That's the claim.
I hate actual ball Earth rhetoric.
I know why, because it's all presupposition and begging the question, and when posed a good question, you can't answer it, Baldwin.
It's just really annoying when they start making claims that are obviously not happening, right? When there's a so much better explanation. I don't know why these ball proponent people hang on to these archaic interpretations when it's obviously wrong and there's a better explanation for it, like the one I gave.
You mean conceptual?
What?
No, not conceptual. No. Arwen's not saying conceptually, saying it'd be nice if we could observe drift in nature to actually prove their claim that we have drift in nature. But bloody hell, these globe claims. They claim this stuff and it doesn't happen in nature, in reality.
Right. But where Baldwin likes to go is conceptual, because he doesn't have to prove anything.
What?
He does in this instance.
You don't know.
Yeah, he has to prove we've got drift at 15 degrees now, like they claim in the gyro or the bullet or the pendulum or the football. We just don't observe it.
We've been asking Baldwin this, and he says, well, you just don't go high enough. Well, has he gone high enough to make that claim?
No, don't now move into trench level Baldwin rhetoric. No.
Ah.
I don't need Baldwin for the trench level rhetoric. What I need him is for the consistency of the argument, not the funny muting, the repetition, the circle jerking, the moving it away from the actual argument. No. I don't need any of that. I can have that from the opponents when they come in. They'll give us that in spades. I don't need it from you.
All right. Well, I was just thinking giving them a head start on Monday, because by Friday they're gone again.
I think it's more fruitful to find out how gas can actually move in lockstep with the rotating Earth than it is to find Coriolis deviation very close to Earth, which obviously doesn't happen.
Cool, let's cover that. What's the fundamental thing that makes a solid a solid? What makes a solid, Darwin?
That it's solid?
It's got solid bonds.
Right.
Right, what about a liquid?
A few bonds, but not all of them.
Weak bonds, but bonds not the same, all the same. Yeah. What about a gas?
It expands in all directions.
What about the bonds? Are they bonded together or bonded to Earth to move with it? They're bonded to Earth, moving with it, right? Gas is bonded.
Well, they only move in the volume available to them
not what I asked.
spatially.
So gas is bonded to Earth to move with it, is it? That's one of the properties of gas, it being bonded to other stuff, or is fundamentally one of the properties of gas that it is unbonded?
Yes, but it is sort of bonded to the container volume. So if the container volume is going to move, then the gas will be pushed by the container walls, whatever they are, to move with it, with the volume.
Again, unless you're going to
Container.
move Baldwin's trench rhetoric into a contained heliocentric model, then, you know, what are you proving by your juxtaposition between containment, which isn't what we're discussing? I don't get it.
Well, there has to be containment, otherwise there wouldn't be any gas pressure, but that doesn't mean that there can't be open outer space. It's just the containment has to be achieved some other way, and I think that the bending of space-time is the solution for this.
What the hell? What kind of crap is this?
Good morning, Chocolate.
Good morning, guys.
It's called the next level.
Oh my god.
I object to this whole line question.
Say again, whoever that was, father of a stolen child.
Yeah,
I'll stop now.
I object because you can't measure a radial value to Earth, so you can't have an axis without that.
Thank Jesus for the end to this discussion. Indeed. So if it's measured in radians, your axial rotation value is debunked by the black swan. You haven't got a radius value. Moving on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Another made up.
Objects go down, go boom, boom, and gas expands in all directions.
Okay. I don't know if you're wanting to intentionally play both sides of the fence, but you're getting very confusing, Arwin. Pick a side.
What?
Well, he differentiated between gas and objects, so I guess he's got that going for him. I don't know, but the last part with the gas moving omnidirectionally all directions, that kind of negates the whole gravity thing where things go down, go boom, boom. So
Yeah, but that's Newtonian thinking.
pick
you know,
one.
outdated. It's outdated.
Oh, it's Newtonian thinking.
Yes,
Oh man.
it's been superseded.
So yes.
Yes.
So yes, go down, go boom, boom, or no?
So then gravity's not a force.
Well, it go down, go boom, boom, but eventually there is like the space-time bending, which causes, well, go down, go boom, boom. Yeah, that effect, it's basically a spatial misinterpretation of what it's really doing, right? And it's still bound by the Newtonian model, which is just wrong.
But why is there a but after that though? Like, it's like things go down, go boom, boom, unless they don't go down, go boom, boom. Like, I don't.
No, it's
I
the
don't
go
understand how
down,
that
go
works.
boom, boom was a misinterpretation, but it does kind of stick to the space, right?
What is space-time?
Space-time bending.
What is space-time bending?
Next question.
Any scientific evidence of gravity? Anybody in Discord, maybe? Scientific evidence of gravity. Tumbleweed sound effect. Clearly not. Okay.
Things fall down, light things go up.
Not Baldwin.
Okay. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, they're busy with this undefined space-time bending, and that's the world they're in. Beyond observing something, a flickering light, they got nothing.
Are they doing that though? Or am I just doing that? I
Doing
think that
what?
everybody's staying clear away from space-time bending because it's untenable, really.
Can't stay away from it. It's got no physicality. It's a reification of a mathematical concept. So how do you stay away from something that you can't physically interact with?
Well, then per definition, you can only stay away from it if it is not within reach.
What's it? What's it so I can stay away from it? Then once you've shown me it, bend it for me.
Well, you would have to enter a pseudo-Riemannian 4 space virtually.
Where's the door for that?
There
Do
is
you
one.
use a phone booth or a DeLorean for that?
I think you'll find it's a wardrobe.
Yeah, Nathan got it right. It's a wardrobe.
The third choice. Damn it.
Wardrobes are hard to find, though, these days. Although telephone booths are even rarer.
Not police booth, so
I don't know. Is the wardrobe a different time thing, or is that just a different like dimension thing? Because I
Well,
know the
maybe
phone
you could
booth and the DeLorean are, so we might have a situation here. I don't know.
I think that these days you could just use your mobile phone.
Chocolate,
Oh,
where we're
okay,
going,
that works.
Chocolate, where we're going, we don't need wardrobes.
you just need to. I think
Oh
Alwyn's
my
right. Actually,
God.
I've just checked it. You just need to download your flux capacitor app on your iPhone. Sorted.
Awesome.
Flux capacitor app, I love that. Although I don't have a mobile, so I'll never be able to get it, but
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
no.
That would,
But what would the container have to be? Could the container be contained through
he
space
just said
time
without a
bending?
container.
What?
Without a container? How was the first question? What would the container be?
Well, maybe if space itself would be partially a containing element, then you wouldn't have to have a physical container to contain something. You could just have space be altered in some mysterious
Yeah,
way.
when you say it like that, though, space is more of a space than a container. It's more of a space that the gas could occupy. Ironically called space.
Nathan, are you denying that empty space could be a container somehow?
No, empty space would be a place that gas could fill.
You're being so difficult.
Space could be just a very, very big container.
Well, that's the problem, though, isn't it?
Well,
If space was a very big volume, then the gas we breathe would want to fill it. It's entropy increase.
and somehow they have a volume measurement for that. How did they get that again? With that extremely big number?
Made it up.
It's true because they made it up themselves. Gotcha.
It's so true. They made
It's
up
worse.
some load of stuff.
But it's worse. The number they gave for the volume, it's only because you can't use an infinite volume in any calculation, right? That's impossible. So they just had to arbitrarily downsize it because, if it's supposed to be infinite, it's always going to be a downsize when you appoint a number. And they just appointed the number to be able to calculate something with it, right?
Oh, sounds like
But don't they say it's expanding? How is it already infinite? So
Don't
infinity is
ask
expanding.
those questions.
Don't
Silence.
say-
be logical. My
I'm with
bad.
Alwyn.
Silence,
Sorry.
John.
I'm with Alwyn. Don't overthink this.
God, give me that.
Infinity
back to
can
work.
expand mathematically.
Exactly.
it just
Divide
sounds
by.
like
It's just
sounds
give
like
credence to Alwyn.
Christian Huygens.
Hold on. You just give credence to what Alwyn's saying. That's right, Alwyn. Yeah, you divide by nothing. You get infinity. It's amazing.
Sounds like it's a leftover from last week's argument about when Anthony came in and read some quotes about Christian Huygens and Kepler that you brought up, Nathan. So they have to assume everything in order to give it the dimensions they need for their R, which they assumed as well.
That's a good segue. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Well, first we have to establish a measure of unit of measurement, right?
1
They
AU.
use.
In order to measure all these apparent distances.
AU. A.
Yeah. But where to go from that point on,
You need to make a few assumptions. You need to assume Earth's sphere with a radius value of 3959. You need to assume that Venus, that light in the sky, is actually Earth's twin with the same radius value at 3959, so you can apply Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion to give you the scaling values and derive the distances.
No, you have to start off by assuming the horizon is geometric. That has to be the first
I should have.
assumption.
Yeah, I stand corrected. You first have to have a
Excuse
physical
me.
assumption bias about the horizon being a tangent point capable of deriving the R value in the first instance, to then assume that that R value translates perfectly onto a light in the sky called Venus, otherwise known as Earth's twin. Ever wondered why? Start that again. Ever wonder why they call it Earth's twin? Well, because they assume it's the same size as Earth. That's why. That's what gives you your scale in your 93 million mile sun.
Did they ever measure?
Excuse me.
Did they ever confirm that it is the same size as presumed sizable Earth, though?
What, the light in the sky?
Did they ever send a satellite over there and actually measure the radius?
What, through a
Of
second
Venus
law
to
of thermodynamics
confirm whether it's the
violation
same
sky
size?
vacuum? No, they didn't, Arwin. Because if they did, then they'd be sending something through a sky vacuum, wouldn't they? And we'd all be dead.
Yeah, but dude, if we can go to the moon, then we can also send a satellite to Venus to actually check if the radius is the same size as Earth. Come on.
And if we can go to Narnia, we can all get really old and then come back as children afterwards.
Yes.
No, you can't go to a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum, because if the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would fill that space. Entropy increase. Gas expands in all directions to fill the volume it has to fill. And if space was a volume, a space, then gas would have filled it. We'd all be dead. Ergo, the sky vacuum is not our reality. We don't have space above our head for gas to fill. It would have filled it.
But if it wouldn't, then we could.
If we didn't have the second law of thermodynamics describing how gas always fills the availability of volume that it has to fill, then we could potentially have a sky vacuum above our head if we didn't have that natural law, that law of nature, that description of something that occurs always. If that didn't occur always, then yeah, the sky vacuum would be possible.
There you go. So now we can finally move on.
Yeah, but it is real. We do definitely have a law of nature. The thermodynamics laws are definitely applicable. They are descriptions of things that occur always. So if the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathed would fill the space. We'd all be dead. We'd have no gas to breathe. This picture on screen, this cartoon depicting a sun as a burning ball of gas, also in violation of natural law. Yeah, gas fills space. You don't have burning balls of gas in vacuums. See those clouds on the side of Earth? That's high pressure gas. And what's next to it? Oh, a massive amount of space that it's not filling in violation of natural law. Yeah, this whole picture is nonsense. Space is fake.
Unless you have certain forces acting on the gases.
Sorry. Forces acting on unbonded gases. Fill me in. Like gas does with space.
Can we see a demonstration? Can we see a demonstration of it?
Dude, my point that I was trying to make, sort of as Bowen, is that, okay, if they're still holding on to a claim of a moon landing, why didn't, from within that claim situation that they do, why didn't they actually go and send a satellite over to Venus to confirm whether their model foundation assumptions were correct?
They can
Is
in the
Venus
model.
actually
Owen,
the same
it's
size?
akin to you asking me, why didn't Edmund go back and rescue some more magical Turkish delight? It's the same question.
Yes.
Well, why? Well, you can write that into the story. Obviously, you know, you're not the original author, but you could, if you chose, write that into an extra narrative and have them all go back through the wardrobe just to get Turkish delight, right? But does that make
Sounds
it
delicious.
Sure, but we're talking about going to Narnia through a wardrobe. Likewise, you're talking about going to a second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum to measure the radius of a presumed to be rock falling around in a presupposed orbit in a sky vacuum. That can't be done, Arwin.
But they could write an interesting story about it.
Ah,
though.
there you go. Yes, they could. And they probably will now you've suggested it.
And they'll probably speak about those certain forces.
I mean,
What
look,
certain forces?
with enough computer power,
if we
Arwin,
had,
you could devise this whole story and narrative yourself, publish it, and say that it's the Arwinian mission to measure radius of Venus. Just fake the whole thing like NASA do. Bob's your uncle. Then it's part of the narrative. You've made it part. You just have to make it up.
Yeah.
Can we measure Earth first?
No, that's not possible.
Well, then what business do we have with Venus?
Depends on the equatorial.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, chocolate. Don't overthink this, Pence. What are you doing? Doesn't matter that we can't actually measure a radius to derive Venus as a twin to Earth. You're overthinking this far too much.
Look, if we can
Yep.
measure the equator on Earth, then we could also measure the equator on Venus.
We can't. We haven't got an equator. It's a derivative of the sun movements.
Yes. So there should be the same on Venus, right?
That's what fixes the value of the geometric horizon, but we don't have a geometric horizon.
I'm sure curve function collapse happens on Venus just as well.
I told you how to negate curve function collapse. I've told you again now. What you need to do is fake it to make it. So if you want to create this part of the narrative, then to avoid curve function collapse, just so I'm talking the same shite you are, then you've got to create the reality around a situation that doesn't have any flat world, i.e. the reality we face. And then you can fake Earth in space, you can fake falling around in a presupposed orbit around a sphere Earth that can't be measured. You can do all that stuff with CGI. It's the only way to fly, man.
Wait, John said that we don't have a geometric horizon? So what the hell were boats disappearing behind all these years? Oh, what was that again?
Well, at a certain point, you reach and breach the diffraction limit, and you can't tell the difference between the sea, which is at a limited angle, and the bottom of the boat, which is also at a limited angle. They kind of look the same because they reach and breach a diffraction limit, and it looks like it's gone over Earth curve.
It's looming,
looks like-
also known as terrestrial refraction, also now
No.
known as curve function collapse.
No, R-based terrestrial refraction at 7/6 hours got nothing to do with this geometric physical sphere edge horizon that formerly blocked boats and buildings. Now we're being told, hashtag thanks cats, all about how the diffraction limit can limit your angle of view to the bottom of things, and you can't tell the difference between the limited angle to the bottom of the boat and the limited angle of the sea, because the deck's limiting your angle, causing a diffraction limit, and you can't tell the difference between the sea and the bottom of the boat, so you lose the bottom of the boat to diffraction. Hashtag thanks cats.
Isn't that what we've been saying?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That sounds like our shit.
It does sound just like our argument from about 3.5 years ago, doesn't it, Chocolate? Amazing that the ball-believing fundies are so stupid as to parrot back our argument, only for us to say, yeah, that's our defence when you tell us we don't need perspective, we've got Muppet Vision Earth curve maths, and feet and inches values that don't change with distance, and an assertion that when you reach and breach the diffraction limit, actually it's a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve, getting in the way at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Nah, definitely not.
Nathan, wasn't this a twofer from the same guy? First he said you and your reference frames are ruined, which is their argument. Right? We
No,
don't
you're
have-
getting confused with Simon Dan. So Simon Dan has obviously made the headlines recently in flat Earth terms because, embarrassingly, he didn't know how to answer our question in regards to the second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum. So he put our question to a BBC correspondent astrophysicist. That's how troubling our questions were. And down to his embarrassment, he's then come up with some pop quiz maths questions to quiz us with, which aren't paradigm changing in the slightest, and definitely wouldn't be worthy of putting to a BBC correspondent. Now would they, Dan? But obviously you need some gotchas to discredit us personally, given that you're putting our questions to BBC astrophysicists. No, that's Dan 10th. Katz would be the guy who brought us joy like, without the balloon there can be no pressure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got them confused, but again, they're giving up what they have, and then the other one, Katz, comes in with what we have. So they're using their argument on saying we have it, and then they take our argument and use it, and we say thank you very much.
Indeed. I can't remember who it was exactly, but certainly Chocolate will be able to remind me. somebody detailing why a demonstration of a little toy boat going out towards the horizon would have the bottom disappearing long before Earth curve would take effect. And it was detailed back to us how it was reaching and breaching a diffraction limit. Who was that, Chocolate?
That was unorthodox.
Priceless.
Unorthodox. Yep. Same guy who came here in defense of the Black Swan told us, but you forgot about optics, Nathan. We were all like, yeah, thanks. That's our that's our argument, man. Good looking out.
Yeah, 6 years we've been making that argument.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah. I think when we were first detailing it, some of these cats weren't around and they didn't realise that their brethren had been telling us, no, we don't need this angular resolution account. Whole numbers, feet and inches, orthographic view, like you're building something. You don't need to change the values as they get further away. We keep them the same. Flurspective, they told us. Hand-waved it and told us it was stupid. So to hear our opponents detail back diffraction is glorious. You'd have been much better off claiming I don't understand what diffraction was as you were, cats. Because that was the best defence you possibly have. Brush diffraction, add defence of your Earth curve maths under the rug and claim I don't understand what it is, because then you don't have to discuss it. As opposed to highlighting and detailing what diffraction does and how it causes things to disappear into the distance, bottom up, when you can't distinguish the angle to the sea from the angle to the bottom of the boat. That's our argument. You don't have any of those effects in Earth curve maths, and you're the one detailing it to your audience. Well, we didn't get through to them. We were hand-waved when we tried, so thanks very much. Hashtag thanks, cats. Any more housekeeping?
Well, I mean, he's batting 1,000. I mean, wasn't one of the first things he came out with was without the balloon there could be no pressure? Like, wasn't that one of his first quotes out the gate? We were like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I'll tackle a fundamental flaw in heliocentrism, a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, by declaring that you require a container to have gas pressure, and without it you wouldn't have any gas pressure. Yeah, that's a wonderful declaration for our side.
I mean, okay. Are they going with the tactic of if you can't beat them, join them?
Certainly seems so.
I don't get what's going on.
No, what they've taken the tactic of is to detail how perspective works, show their audience how the diffraction limit works, and then say, but we don't need that in Earth curve maths. And then argue about how they don't need the thing they've just detailed to their audience. It's absolutely brilliant.
Irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. I'll give you a detailed explanation, and then afterwards, when you say, where's it in Earth curve maths, I'll say it's irrelevant.
You know why they're here?
Well, maybe the Earth curve math is irrelevant because it didn't take into account curve function collapse. It's free curve function collapse realization.
Yeah, right. Anyway, they're here because they've accepted pseudoscience rather than real science. And when we throw that to them, they have to defend it. And then when they're defending it, they're giving us our arguments because they can't defend their pseudoscience. So they're just disingenuous because they're not in a position where they can be honest with their souls and say, you know what, maybe I have been lied to. Let's check it out.
A quick shout out to Godzilla37 who says, why is this show still running? FFS. All these ballers in chat are so sure they can prove the globe. So why haven't any of them done it yet? Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate your support, Godzilla37.
Well, not only that, but they're denying measurements now, too.
Yeah, go into that one, John, because if you're going to get that bad defending pseudoscience to where you deny actual measurements, well, what does that make you? A troll or something worse?
Well, when you don't have any, what are you going to do? Right? You have no measurements to defend because you don't have measurements. So what do you have to do? You have to actually go against the measurements that exist because you don't have measurements. And what do they measure before they create this nonsensical model? They measure a flat plane, and then what? Throw some math in it, change it up. Well, of course they're gonna hate the actual measurements because what do they measure in the first place? Thanks,
Yeah, but the people I'm talking about haven't done anything. They just accept the narrative, as Nathan has shared before. You just put on a white lab coat and call something science, it's done. They can't question it anymore. And then these same people come up and say science doesn't prove things. I mean, they speak so many sides out of their mouth. It's ridiculous.
Cool. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Again, with no R, so what the heck is that question all about?
That would be a no from 10 then.
Everything goes back to R. If you don't have a curved Earth, then what is all these other arguments based on if you don't have a curved Earth?
Right on. I think that concludes the housekeeping. Did anyone from Discord want to add anything? Clearly not. I'm going to do a quick plug. So, I was chatting with Martin, who's a good friend of mine. His channel is called both Martin Liedtke, and I believe his other channel is called Flat Earth British Think Tank. So those are his two channels. Subscribe today. If you're watching this on a re-up, I will stick the link in the chat, but as I'm actually doing the show, I can't do it right now while I'm actually plugging him. This is the Amazon store for one of Martin's books. So he's actually got 2 books out, and although it's embarrassing to say, I didn't know he had a second book. So he was... I was discussing with him hopefully plugging me to a completely different style of audience. So Martin's audience is very, very different to mine. And I'd like to pilfer some of his audience. Why not? So I've asked him to shout me out. And while I was doing so, he very subtly, in Martin's way, pointed out that he's had nobody point out that he's got books out for sale. And that he's written 2 books. And you can go and buy them on Amazon for 20 quid a piece. So, yeah, I'm going to show you the covers and read out the titles for you so you can see Martin's good work. So this is Martin Liedtke's book, which is called The Holy Grail of the Greatest Reset. And that's the first book. And then his other book is called The Holy Grail of Our Flat Earth. Those are Martin's books. So check it out. Go and check out Martin Liedtke's channel as well. He covers the history hoax. He covers Antiquitech. Covers artifacts from our history, images from our history. And he has some very, very popular live streams. So Martin is, if I'm going to go out on a limb and say, one of the most popular people in this arena. He has up to 1,000 people watching him live. I kid you not. So part of the conversation, when I was like, can you shout me out? He's like, yeah, brother, when I've got 1,000 people watching next, I'll shout you out then. I was like, bloody hell, 1,000 people. I've got 120 people watching this show right now. Very grateful to you all. Thank you very much for tuning in, all of you. Very grateful to have you, I am. But yeah, so Be Here or Be Sphere. Check out Martin's book. And more power to you, Martin. You know, you're doing absolutely brilliant work. And I really enjoy watching your streams. And yeah, check him out today if you're watching in the live stream. If you're watching this on the re-up. I've also asked Martin to trim this out because it's an advert for his book. So he can publish this on his channel. And it also kind of serves as an advert for me. So subscribe to me if you're watching this on Martin's channel. Nathan Oakley 1980 Flat Earth Debate runs daily live shows. Check them out. You can join. Links below. Be Here or Be Sphere. Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. But obviously check out Martin's book as that's the main purpose of this particular plug. So there you go, Martin. Plugged your book. Now what we need is lots of love for Martin. And you all saying, yeah, Martin's ace. Because he is.
Mud
Yeah, mate.
flooders, unite. Mud people, eh?
Oi, oi. Much love, brother. Much love.
Yeah, Martin is
Yeah.
a lot of fun to sit through his hangouts, and he has just great collections of fascinating pictures, sketches, and very, very old video recordings. And it's always interesting
And boobs
to
too.
watch.
And boobs.
Yeah.
He does. He
And
has
it's
boobs.
late.
He's got pictures
Yeah.
of boobs. What can I say? He does. It's true.
Yep. The ancient naughtiness.
Ancient naughtiness pictures. Antiquitech. The Antiquitech is the thing that fascinates me the most. I'm a bit of a techie, and I just love it. He's obviously speculating on this stuff, but it's there, and it's clearly technical in nature, and you're like, wow, this stuff's amazing. You know, the Ethereum machine came up recently from Anthony Riley, and you're like, yeah, that just fits right into that bracket. It's Antiquitech. Yes, Nathan, I'm really interested too. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not alone. I would be hating to meet with stunned silence after saying something like that.
Martin
No,
is
Very
very fun.
fascinating, especially that enter the Kira device. That was really amazing because it's like embedded in rock or something, isn't it?
Invented what?
It was sort of like half embedded in rock, something really old. Hey,
Metal gears, and it was completely petrified.
Oh, we're talking about the Ethereum machine. Okay.
Anybody here 10th man?
Say again,
Yeah,
Ted.
it's I ordered the books on it and watched many hours of videos on it. I'm just trying to figure out if they eventually came up with a is it a timepiece? Is it it's still they're still investigating it, but I found it very interesting to have a brass object of that time with all those gears and about the sun, the moon, and different planets, and they're trying to figure out if it was some kind of timepiece or obviously had to do with the stars and their movements. But that would mean the clock, the watch, was made earlier than later if it was a timepiece.
It is a
Well,
timepiece.
yeah, of course.
It is a
was
timepiece.
definitely a clock, and it's only logical that the original idea of gear-based clocks originally started out big, right? Because of metal production was very difficult in the early days. Now you can make very miniature things, so it eventually turned into mechanical watches over the centuries, millennia, perhaps. But I think it's just a very ancient clock system.
Yes, I think that goes without saying, but it's geocentric. That's one of the things. It's not a heliocentric mechanism.
Yes,
Of course.
it is geocentric.
Of course.
Shout out to Retro Bill, who says, "Enjoy the day, everyone. You have 24 hours."
Nice.
That's funny.
Lovely. That's brilliant. Somebody in the comments said to me about that, because although I'm putting it out there, and while I'm saying it on Bullbusters, asking Adam to say it with "you have 24 hours," somebody in the comments pointed out, "Oh, I can't wait to use this meme. This will go down in infamy. This is brilliant. You have 24 hours." And I was like, yeah, of course. It's just another thing that's going to get stuck into the flat earth lexicon from Simon Dan. You have 24 hours.
I had to stop myself from getting triggered and laughing at the same time because I saw the meme with him placing Jack Bauer, and I love 24, the show. So when I saw, I was like, "Oh my god, freaking Simon did Jack Bauer!" Driving me nuts. But that was awesome, though.
Speaking of that,
Isn't it funny that these people come up with every load of nonsense possible, as opposed to just addressing the claim, right? Anything but address the claim with some evidence. Anything but that.
It takes discipline, Brian.
Yeah,
I know about
I know you know. I know you know. There's no one more of a baller than Baldwin.
it.
You are like
Thank you.
ball king. That kind of way.
indeed.
But,
Yeah, but Brian, this goes back.
I tried. Come on.
No, I was going to say, Brian, this goes back to what we talked about earlier. When confronted with pseudoscience, when all the time you thought it was real science, what does a person do? Look what we did. Look what they're not doing. That talks about their character or the lack thereof.
But I don't even think we need to even speak about science and pseudoscience. We just need to speak. You just have to live in reality, and that then their claims don't hold true. You know what I mean? It's just reality. The reality is, well, we look into what they did. This is not holding true with reality. So that's it. You know what I mean? We just have to. Someone doesn't have to know everything that there is to know about what science and pseudoscience is. They just have to know reality.
Well, even there, Brian, it stands to reason. If you don't use pseudoscience and real science, and in your case, you're just saying, well, is the Earth obviously observably flat and motionless? And they'll say, yeah. Well, there's your reality. And then what? It's the same issue. Do they have a desire to find out why the narrative is that we live on a curved surface, spinning and outer space and all these things? Or do they just say, who cares?
Well, I find a solution.
But look, the thing about it is, right, when you live in, because now, see, the thing about when you say science, when we say science and pseudoscience, or when someone says that, it's like not everything is within that bracket. Something is not science or pseudoscience. It's just a claim. You know, that kind of way. Like just going back on the, because what I was kind of hinting at there a few minutes ago, the whole Simon Dan thing, where like there's a lot of, he's sending out these stupid calculations or stupid maths questions to people instead of addressing claims. Right, address your claims, address your globe claims. He's not doing that. He's asking Nathan, how many apples is there of the bloody blah? Like you're asking, and then if we only have 4 apples, what's the answer? You know, it's rubbish.
That's not
absolute rubbish.
Yeah, he asked me what the period was of a 5 hertz wave.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what he asked. It's just nonsense. I don't care what he asked. I don't care if I have it wrong. I intend on not caring.
No, neither do I. I noticed that none of the people who were baited with these questions at all bothered to go through the process of calculating what he wanted them to calculate. They all just wanted to get lost and pointed out that he hadn't addressed a sphere argument in this.
I know you did. Where I'm going with this, look, I have Wolfie at the weekend, right, trying to detail, asking me questions about how an airplane can fly upside down. I mean, what has that got to do with the claim made by him and all these other people that they're flying around the globe? Absolutely nothing.
It's a red herring. That's what it is.
Absolute red herring nonsense. And I told him it was that, but I said, okay, I'll go through it. And I went through a couple of the questions, and I started answering them correctly, and he wasn't happy. So he started coming back at me with some nonsense, and then he started telling me he was my teacher. So I told him to hit the road then.
I've heard of the Red Baron, but who's the red herring?
Yeah.
The purpose of Simon Dan's little ploy is to get the reaction that he's got from a cum virus, i.e. the low IQ people who watch the show will bite. They couldn't answer the questions, ? Laughing my ass off. Nobody even attempted to do his calculations. We pointed out that he claimed they were physics questions, and they had no relevance to the subject matter. So it's merely a personal attack virus. Let's see if I can test this person on their maths acumen, when it has no bearing on the subject being debated. Whereas our question virus was put to a BBC correspondent by Dan. So which do you think's more pertinent? Should I put his question about the period of a 5 hertz wave to a BBC correspondent? I think he'd give me a blank stare and say, how is this relevant given that you debate the nature of existence? Yeah? But you can take it as a win should anybody stupid enough to bite on it. And what Dan's hoping for is get it wrong. So he can say, look, they can't do basic maths. This individual who attacks an entire worldview. The individual's wrong. But you're too stupid to see through that virus, like most people who tune into Dan are too stupid to see it. Yeah? We didn't take the bait. Not that we couldn't answer, we chose not to because it's pointless.
Hang on, Nathan. Virus said he loves math, and we had a question to him concerning the subject. What's 90 minus 15?
No, that's a personal attack on virus. I'm just gonna throw the
No,
same
I'm not
thing.
attacking him. He said he loved math, and now you're saying that this whole thing is bearing about a math question.
Yeah, you're hesitant, right?
On...
Hold on, 10th. You're hesitant because you know what you've just done. You've just done what he's done, right? Now, don't try and bandy around the fact that what you've done is what virus has just done. So that argument was about measuring. Was it declination or was it
the zenith?
The zenith, yeah, to stars, right? Now his math acumen does not concern me, right? But the ability to measure a zenith to 3 positions, 3 stars, and measure a flat surface for all of them to get the angle, that I'm concerned with. That's the argument that is concerned with the flat plane we dwell atop and navigate. Not his maths acumen. So I'm going to have the same go at you as I would at Simon Dan when you do the same exact thing.
No, I again, you misunderstood what I was doing. I was just making sure I didn't misquote him. That's why you sensed the hesitation. The question was, if you move 1 degree away from 90, where you at? He goes to 89. And then we just kept going there. He wanted to convert it into miles. I say, yeah, but we'll get there. But what is it? And he wouldn't. He felt like there was a trap or something, and And it looked embarrassing for him because he wouldn't do it after he said he loved math. Now, what you did today is you brought up the fact that they love asking us questions about math. They have no bearing on the subject, whereas that was a question that did bear on the subject. That's
no
all.
bearing. Boom, boom.
Well, that was unintentional, but thank you.
My pleasure. You do it without even thinking. It's instinctual.
Okay, well, peace be upon you, Azimuth.
Allah be praised. May the many arms of Ganesh embrace you all.
But it doesn't matter what. It doesn't always have to be a maths question. Like Wolfie wasn't asking me a maths question the other night. He was asking me to do with the function of an airplane. They're just looking for anything, and I mean absolutely anything to character assassinate you. Anything. It doesn't matter if you bought a pair of shoes that don't match your pants you're wearing in your photograph. Anything.
Yeah,
They're desperate beyond belief.
Paula
Did
and
you buy
Anthony
a
both.
pair of pants?
Paula and Anthony both focus on this because they summarise it beautifully when they say it's majoring on the minors. So as an example, when I woke, one of the first things I do when I wake up is I go through my emails, check my messages, then I get out of bed. I basically dedicate my entire life to this channel, but there we go. Let's not get into that. The point is I get up, check my email. So in that instance, I woke up, I'm like, oh, let's have a look at my emails. And I've got an email from Simon Dan. So he's emailed me at 7:30 a.m. and I'm looking at my emails at 8 a.m. That's the time I happen to have got out of bed that particular morning. And when I've typed out my reply, which is half awake in half a daze, I've misspelled there, right? Not Ari or apostrophe Ari, T-H-E-R-E. So I've spelt it incorrectly, right? And several commenters are like, he misspelt there, so therefore his entire argument's void. You're like, you complete idiots. You're like, my reply highlights the fact that our question was put to an astrophysicist by Dan. His question isn't worthy of putting to school children. It doesn't change your paradigm. It doesn't change your worldview. It doesn't do anything except try and get us in a gotcha. That's all it's doing. It's a personal attack to discredit his opponent because he can't overcome our argument. It's absolutely pathetic.
Yeah,
And he couldn't answer the question himself, and then he passed his question on to the other guy. Did the other guy answer the question?
He told him they're just wrong. I spelt they're just wrong with T-H-E-R-E. Right? Therefore invalidating the argument? No. I was pointing out that the response he got when asking our pertinent, poignant question to the astrophysicist from the BBC was that we're just wrong. That was the reply he got.
There you go.
Right, this is a small pause. I'm going to do another shout out. So I hit 21,000 subscribers today. So there's a lot of new people watching. So a very warm welcome to all of you. Thanks in part to Dave Weiss. Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH is his main channel. Also, Flat Earth Sun and Moon Zodiac Clock app is his other channel. It's a bit of a mouthful. But he was very gracious enough to go to the effort of actually producing an advert for this channel, for Nathan Oakley 1980, I should say. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley, that's my second channel. Subscribe today if you're not already. But he put an advert out, and extra mile or what, on that app, he has put a link to my short video playlist, which I made under instruction from Dave. So what you need to do is you need to produce a video playlist that's got all of the arguing debate points in very, very short videos. Now, by coincidence, I've been producing quite a few short videos as trailers for videos that are between 10, 15, sometimes 20, sometimes a little bit longer. And while they're waiting to premiere, any of my videos that you see waiting to premiere, i.e. they're not premiering right now, have normally got a 3-minute trailer. And it's the most concise part of the argument summarised in a 3-minute trailer to hook you into wanting to watch it when it comes out. But all of those videos, a lot of which were unlisted, have now gone into a playlist called the Dearth List. And that playlist is part of that app. So if you've got the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app, you can now go to the videos part of the app, and it's got a constantly updated stream of the short videos I make. So only today, it's only been on there a day on the app, I added 3 videos to it, all of which are 2 minutes, one's 37 seconds long, one's 3 minutes. So they're really short, concise videos, and really easily accessible on the, let's get it right because it's a full-on mouthful, Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app. And that was also the name of the channel where Dave put up the ad, and on Dearth. So thank you very much to Dearth as you've grown this channel. And there's going to be a lot of new people who are watching as a result. So a very warm welcome to you once again, all of the new people who have subscribed. And I'm going to take this opportunity to shout out everybody else who did shout outs for me, which is Paula, Spurs Chemo, Flatzoid, Mark Sargent, Russian Vids, who have I missed? I've missed someone important. Ben. There was another one as well who I've forgotten. Flatzoid I've said. I don't think I've missed anybody. There we go. So all of those people have recently done ads for me, and hopefully I'll trim out that ad for for Martin Liedtke's book. Check it out on Amazon. So, and that'll actually serve as an advert for me as well, because it'll be me on the end of it saying subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980. Unless, you never know, Martin might go to the effort making me an advert as well. He's a good friend of mine. I bloody hope so, Martin, if you're watching this. No obligation, mate. I'm only kidding.
We tried this in the past where we asked you to make short clips, and you did, but like you said, they were longer. But now this is nice, about 3 minutes or less.
It's because I couldn't. When we were first into the debating, some of the arguments would take an hour and a half to 3 hours. Right? How are you supposed to get that down to 3 minutes? Now we've got the arguments pegged. We can concisely demolish an argument, normally in one sentence. Well, with a bit of fundy muting in between, a little bit of talking over, and a little bit of distraction and obfuscation, with the point being summarised 5 times in an attempt to get it through the fundy muting, that can still be summarised in a 3-minute video these days, because we've got our arguments so honed.
Well, that's because, obviously, experience and time, but also one of the key factors I love the show is you catch the begging the question, all the other different fallacies that go along with the globe lie. So if your audience could learn that, so if they say space or all that, then you know it's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. If they say this other thing, then you know it's this. So it's like they can't even get any traction because they're starting with a presupposition, and you have to call that out.
Yes, indeed. Exactly. How was that, chocolate? Neil, go ahead. Hold on, just 1 second. Did you want to add something, Neil?
Yes, I wanted to add that quick story because teachers are warning young children now. So it was at a birthday party for my son, and we were throwing a Frisbee around. So my grandson, he's about maybe 8 years old, 9, somewhere around there. So he's looking out, he's saying, you see, it looks like it's flat. Just out of nowhere, he goes, everything looks like it's flat, but that's just our perspective because it's really round. So I said, Liam, if I take a brick and I put it about 100 feet away, could you see it? So he's like, maybe. I said, all right, we'll bring it closer. Say 25 feet away. Could you see it? So I went through the whole routine that you do, Nathan. So then at the end, I said,
Go through it.
Okay, so I said, okay, you can see it there. Now, if I put it, say 400 feet away, can you see it? He said, no. I said, why? He said, well, because it's too small to see. I said, okay. So now I'm going to take 1,000 bricks and put it on top of it and make a building. Could you see the building? He said, of course. I said, but can you see the first brick we put down? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, because it's too small and it's too far away. I said, oh, so it's not going over the curve of the earth? And he said, my teacher said this was going to happen. So they're warning these kids today about flat earthers. That's insane.
Perfect. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, or became a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned once again if you're watching on our premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
bloody day.